Shabbat Shalom, giving all the praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahushai, Ba'Shem, Chakwadash. Double unto the elder apostles of the great millstone who rule well, and as always, peace and salutations to the hopeful elect tabernacle of David, scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. Now, what I have before me is an excerpt from the Antiquities of the Jews. And this was by Josephus, the historian, all right, which, he was an Israelite. And, you can see right here, this is the cover. All right, Josephus, the complete works. All right. And then when you go to book 6, chapter 11, at paragraph 9, and this is dealing with the new moon feast that King Saul had prepared. And, he normally have, his gathering with his son, the captain of his host, these different people that were appointed to come to the feast on this particular high holy day, all right, which is a new moon, which is a Sabbath, right? And you could read this in 1 Samuel, the 20th chapter, all right, how David and Jonathan made that pact with each other, to assure David that, he won't suffer any harm. Jonathan basically had his back. So David was supposed to show up to the feast, because King Saul, he expected David to show up, but he didn't. But I want y'all to pay attention to this because, we brought this out before. All right, in my lesson, other brothers in their lessons concerning, whether you can be unclean on the holy day as the Sabbath, right? So I'm going to read it. It says, on the next day, which was the new moon, the king, when he had purified himself, as the custom was, showing you that there was definitely a custom to purify yourself either the day before or on the day of the Sabbath day. Why? Because we are to keep the Sabbath day holy, okay, set apart. Came to supper, and when there sat by him his son Jonathan on his right hand, and Abner, the captain of his hosts, on the other hand, and he saw David's seat was empty, but said nothing, supposing that he had not purified himself, since he had accompanied with his wife, and so could not be present. So what was going through his mind was, okay, so maybe he ain't showing up because he's ceremonially unclean, so he can't be at this holy gathering. That's what he supposed, even though we know that wasn't the case. Because there was no other reason why in his mind that David wasn't there. There's a high holy day. So, that's just, more evidence that we kept ourselves purified for the day of the Sabbath day or the new moon. But you got men that are teaching that you could profane the Sabbath by making yourself unclean and tending to your wife, all right, and basically tending to the flesh instead of setting apart this day so that you can rest and also worship the Father. And that shows you where their mind is at. They mind the things of the flesh and not the things of the spirit. These dudes are not pleasing the Most High at all. And for you to call yourself a priest and you think that this is acceptable. So let me go over here real quick. This is Ezekiel chapter 22 and 25. It says, there is a conspiracy of her prophets in the midst thereof, like a roaring lion, ravening the prey. They have devoured souls, and that's exactly what they're doing. They ripping these people's souls to shreds, man, with their lies, with their deceits. They have taken the treasure and precious things. They have made her many widows in the midst thereof. Her priests have violated my law. All right, violating the law while professing or perpetrating that they're keeping the whole law, and have profaned my holy things, and they have put no difference between the holy and profane. Neither have they shewed the difference between the unclean and the clean, and have hid their eyes from my Sabbaths, and I am profaned among them. Okay? Because if you're saying that on the Lord's holy day, you can make yourself unholy, making yourself unclean, you're not putting the difference between the unclean and the clean. You're not separating the holy from the profane. And not to say that sex is a profane act. I mean, if it's lawful, of course, it's not really profane, but you're profaning the Lord's holy day by making yourself unclean because you have to worship before him. So there's no getting away, there's no getting around this, man. Okay? And I also showed this in a lesson previously as well. Let's go to in the time of the Maccabees. Second Maccabees 12. Yeah, this is Second Maccabees 12 and let me see. Hold on real quick while I look for it. Yeah, I want to say it's in this chapter. After they fought with Gorgias. Okay, yep, Salakia. I found it. All right, this is Second Maccabees 12, and I'll start at verse 36. It says, "Now when they that were with Gorgias had fought long and were weary, Judas called upon the Lord that he would shew himself to be their helper and leader of the battle. And with that, he began in his own language and sung psalms in a loud voice, and rushing unawares upon Gorgias men, he put them to flight. So Judas gathered his hosts and came into the city of Adullam. And when the seventh day came, the Sabbath day, they purified themselves as the custom was." All right, going back to what I read in the Josephus, the reason why Saul and them, they all purified themselves because it was the custom. You want to appear holy. You want to be clean when you come for the worship of the Lord. And kept the Sabbath day in the same place. You see that? So this guy is going to continue to harden his neck. All right, as you can see, he's not right, man. Dude is not right. And he's only going to wax worse and worse. He's only going to wax worse and worse, man. And not just him, the guy next to him, he's going to wax worse and worse. It tells you that in Sirach, the 10th chapter, that pride will make a man separate from his maker, man. You go to that in Ecclesiasticus, the 10th chapter. And this is what happened to you when pride sets in. When that pride sets in and it gets watered and it grows and it doesn't stop, this is what happened, man. Sirach 10 and verse 12, it says, "The beginning of pride is when one departed from the Most High and his heart is turned away from his maker. For pride is the beginning of sin, and he that have it shall pour out abomination. And therefore the Lord brought upon them strange calamities and overthrew them utterly. All right, and that's what'll happen, man. The Lord will allow you to, bury yourself, because you're proud and presumptuous and self-willed. And before you know it, the Lord's going to bring upon your ass strange calamities, man. Something tragic is going to happen. So, hey, man, all we could do is just, bring the scriptures out, rebuke, reprove, and exhort with all long suffering and doctrine. That's all we can really do. I rebuke them sharply. Rebuke before they that sin, rebuke before others that rebuke before all that others may fear. Okay. So anyway, I just want to do that real quick. Since the verdict is in, it's basically confirmed, it's official that they endorse that you can have sex on the Sabbath day. My thing to you, chief priest, since you such a prototype, quintessential chief priest, high priest. Well, every Sabbath day, under the Levitical priesthood, under the first covenant, the priest had to go into the tabernacle, and you had to eat of the shewbread, and that's the most holiest thing you can eat. So my question to you is, would you be justified having sex on the Sabbath day, even though you had to go into the congregation, the sanctuary of the Lord, and eat of the holiest thing that you can eat? That's my question to you, because this had to be done every Sabbath day. So I'm gonna end off with that, man. I'm gonna give all praise to Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Shalom.